All right, let's talk about something that can honestly change everything for your pottery, your brushes. We're going to unlock the secret of what makes the good brush great, and why the right tool could be the only thing standing between you and the artwork you've always wanted to make. You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You've got this vision, you've made the perfect form, but the second you go to add the detail, you're stuck with these fuzzy lines or patchy coverage or just frustrating brush streaks. It is one of the most common pains in ceramics, for sure. But what if it's not you? What if it's not your hand or your technique? This is the big idea we're digging into today. I mean, the source material says it perfectly. If your brushwork feels sloppy or inconsistent or just kind of meh, maybe it's time to stop blaming your hands and start looking at your tools. So to help us out, we're not just guessing here. We are getting a super rare peek inside the personal brush roll of Ed Shears. This guy is a ceramicist with over 35 years of real, hands-on studio experience. He's seen it all, and believe me, he knows which tools actually work. So, after all those years, all those firings, all those glaze experiments, Ed has boiled it all down to just a trusted few. We're about to break down the 4 essential brushes that he absolutely swears by for getting those pro-level results. First one up is the Specialist. This is the number 6 liner brush. Look, if you are chasing after those super clean lines and tiny, intricate details, this brush, it's going to be your new best friend. It's all about precision. And here's Ed's take on it. He uses this for pretty much everything, from delicate slip lines to signing his name on a finished piece. And you've got to notice that key phrase he uses, without flooding. You know what that means? You get a nice, consistent, clean line, not a giant blob of glaze ruining your work. So let's look at the why here, because this is what's really cool. That long tip lets you pull these gorgeous extended strokes. It gives you way better flow control, and this is the most important part, it keeps a super tight, sharp point even when it's soaking wet with underglaze. That's the real secret to those crisp details. Okay, next up in the toolkit, we have the absolute workhorse for glazing, the Soft Fan Mop Brush. This one is all about getting smooth, wide coverage, especially when you're playing with different layers. Ha! I love how Ed puts it, his glazing beast. I mean, that just captures its power perfectly, right? It lays down glaze, fast and wide, but, and this is crucial, it does it so gently that it doesn't mess up any of the texture or the layers you've already put down. And this is exactly why it's so good. That wide fan shape is just perfect for covering a lot of surface area quickly. But its softness, that's the real magic. It's so soft it won't lift or smudge the layers underneath, which is absolutely critical when you're working with tricky finishes like crackle or ash glazes. All right, our third essential tool is the flat shader brush. You should think of this one as your foundation brush. Its whole job is just to lay down a smooth, perfect, even base coat of color. And Ed's analogy here is just perfect. He says it's like painting drywall, but on a cup. And you know exactly what he means. It gives you that really satisfying, controlled application that just glides over that porous bisque surface, leaving this flawless coat behind. So the key is really its structure. That flat, broad shape is literally engineered to give you that even application. It is especially fantastic for matte glazes, where, any little brush stroke or inconsistency can really stick out. This brush just makes that whole problem disappear. And last but not least, we have the artist's brush, the large tip Suni brush. This is the one you grab when you want to add some expression, some real movement, and just a little bit of that spontaneous energy to your piece. You can just hear the creativity in his voice, can't you? This brush isn't for perfect, controlled lines. It's for things like oxide washes and big, expressive marks. It's the brush you use when you're just in that flow state and you want a tool that can keep up with your intuition. Now, the secret weapon here is the material. The natural hair on a Sumi brush is what gives it that incredible loading and release. So what does that mean? It means it can hold a ton of pigment and then just lay it down so beautifully on the surface, which is how you get those dynamic, flowing marks. Okay, so we've seen Ed's 4 favorites, but what are the big principles here? What should you be looking for in any ceramic brush you're thinking about buying? Let's just boil it all down. Really, it just comes down to these 4 things. Number 1, it has to hold glaze without dripping everywhere. Number 2, it needs to release that glaze smoothly, no surprise blobs. 3, it has to keep its shape after you wash it, not turn into a frizzy mess. And 4, and this is a big one, it just has to feel balanced and good in your hand. And this right here is why investing in quality really matters. A cheap set of brushes might seem like a bargain, but you're going to lack control, the balance will feel all wrong, and the tips will lose their shape after a few uses. A real pro-grade brush gives you that control, that balance, and durability that honestly ends up saving you so much frustration and just leads to better art. So, we've looked inside an expert's toolkit. We've broken down the science. What's the one big message you should walk away with today? Well, first, just remember this advice isn't some theory from a book. It's built on more than 35 years of actual in-the-studio experience, of trial and probably a lot of error. This is wisdom that was earned over thousands of hours at the wheel. And that brings us all the way back to where we started. The next time you're feeling frustrated with how your brushwork is coming out, just take a second. The problem might not be you at all. The takeaway here is so simple and it's so empowering. Stop blaming your hands. It's time to upgrade your tools. And that just leaves us with one final, really exciting thought. Imagine for a second, what could you create if your tools were actually working with you instead of against you? If they delivered that perfect line, that smooth coat, that expressive mark you saw on your head, what new doors would open up for you if your tools were no longer holding you back?